Hey everybody, happy Thursday. It looks like I'm running a bit late. My watch must be running slow, or my computer is running fast, one of the two. Hope everybody's doing good. Tonight we're going to work with this product from the new mini catalog, and it's called Flowering Rain Boots, and it comes in a bundle. These are all the stamps and sentiments that come with the set. And then you can see down here the cute, and I'll show them as I start creating cards, the dies. I'm also using one of the pieces of the Sunshine and Rainbows DSP that you can get free with a $50 purchase. Now let me show you. And it's really pretty paper. There is a stamp set, as you can see right here, that goes with this set. I didn't actually get this set, but the papers are really cute. So I can see lots of different things being made with that paper. Also tonight I am using the Friendly Hello paper, and this is also really pretty. Let me just see where it is in here. It's right here. If this paper, and you get the stamp set and the designer series paper with $100 purchase. And this is really pretty paper. Really nice colors, nice flowery designs, and the cute little bird. Good evening. Hello, hello. Thank you. I know I've missed being here too. That's for sure. So bear with me because I'm going to be a little rusty because it's been a long haul and today really wasn't a very good day. So I'm using Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay, Basic White, and the two DSPs that I showed you, and Granny Apple Green to create these really springy type cards. It's only 26 degrees here in Pennsylvania, so it's pretty cold outside, but it's going to be springtime in the craft room tonight. So let's get started. I think we'll start with this one first because it's a pretty simple little card. Let me get all my pieces out here. Make sure I have the right setup. And this one it flips up, so it's a portrait style card. And I kept the center pretty simple. Hi Dawn, how are you, honey? So I'm going to start with my Coastal Cabana layer, and it is 11 by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2. And of course, I have to add my many layers. So I'm going to add a layer of the Bermuda Bay just to create a little frame around my basic white, which I actually ran through the Big Shot or cut and emboss machine with the Tasteful Textile. Thank you. Yes, they do still have very vanilla cardstock. They do. And I ran it through with the Tasteful Textile. And you'll notice that I'm having trouble. I think I need to buy new plates because it didn't emboss the side. But I think it should be, we might not notice it when we put this all together. So let me just I'm going to grab a new glue so I'm not fighting with my glue tonight, because the two that I have open are pretty empty. So let's make it easy and we'll use a new glue. So I hope everybody's doing good. We've had some adventures in our house and it just keeps on coming. That's for sure. But York Hospital here in Pennsylvania actually saved his life. He had stent surgery or a stent procedure, and I'll have, while I'm thinking about it, the measurements will be in the group tomorrow. But the Coastal Cabana is 5 1/4 by 4, and then the basic white is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So we had a 90% chance that he wouldn't come off the table, and he did. And they ended up putting in 5 stents. Thanks, Dawn. Hi, Kathy. Okay, so there's our first layers. Then I am going to adhere a piece of that DSP. And this one is 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. And we're just going to layer this right on the front of the card. And I didn't even mat this layer, so this is just a single layer of DSP. And you'll notice I'm using glue again tonight because I want to make sure I have a couple extra seconds to move things around if I need to. Okay, so now we're going to grab our Granny Apple Green, and let's just give this a quick measure. 2 3/8 by 3 5/8. And that is layered with the Rainbow DSP. And like I said, the DSPs, this one is free, and you get a stamp set that goes along with it with a $100 purchase. And the Rainbow DSP is free with a $50 purchase. Okay. So we're just going to layer this up, and this is actually going to be popped up onto the front of the card. Have to give it just a little bit of dimension. So let's pop this up. Nah, I don't know. It's easier with the ruler. Okay, so let's pop this up. And again, we're going to set, before I do this though, before I set this down, almost forgot my ribbon. So let me grab my ribbon. Let's see what I did with it. I did have one little piece. And what did I do with it? How crazy. What happened tonight? Oh, here it is. It fell. What happened tonight is I was getting ready to get dinner together. Let me just pull this. It's stuck in my little box. I was getting ready to get dinner together, and my neighbor popped over to tell us that, which we already knew, that the storm had blown some shingles off our roof, and he ended up coming in and was gabbing away for almost an hour. So I'm way behind tonight. Okay, so what I did was, just before I get myself all messed up here, I took the open weave ribbon in the soft succulent, and I colored it with our Stamping Blends in the dark Bermuda Bay because I wanted to try to match, and it's not exactly the same color. You can see the soft succulent bleeding through a little bit, but it just changes the color from soft succulent. So I just added some glue dots, and I am just going to add this right here to the bottom of this piece, so I don't have to tie my bow and keep the wrapping tight. I usually use glue dots to put that layer around, and I did it on this one, and then I add my bow. So we already added our dimensionals. Let's get this down and centered on the card. just like that. And then I took my layering circles, the scalloped one, and then I in Bermuda Bay, and then a smaller scalloped one in the Coastal Cabana. And then I did one in the basic white and ran it through with the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. And all I'm going to do is layer these together, and then I'm going to pop the whole thing up. Now for this one, you only see a little bit of this scallop circle. But for the next one, you'll see a lot more of the Bermuda Bay. So we got that. And then we're just going to pop this right up onto the front of the card. So yeah, this week Bill had his procedure. He got out of the hospital on Saturday. My check engine light came on my vehicle. Now we need a new roof. It has been a few days from heck. That's for sure. Somebody doesn't like us. Okay. So there are our layers. Now, before I get to the stamping of the flower pot and the flowers, I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to color up this ribbon really quick. Then this way it has a few minutes to dry. So again, it's the soft succulent, and I'm using the dark Bermuda Bay. And I'm just going to color this up. I'm going to do a little bit more than I need for this card, and then I'll be ready for the next card too, hopefully. See how nice it colors? All right, so we'll just go with that for now. I'm going to let that dry. And we'll pull our card back in. So this little set has such cute little stamps. And I'm going to grab this flower pot. And I actually did already stamp and die cut. I'm going to grab a piece of paper here. Okay. Cute little flower pot. I love the texture on these stamps. And I actually stamped it in yeah, that's for sure. That must be Karen. The green piece right here, this is the DSP that you can get free with Celebration, called Sunshine and Rainbows. And it's the back side of one of the pieces of paper. Okay. So I use the cinnamon cider, and we'll just I'm just looking here to see what I did with all my pieces. I have these. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. So I thought the cinnamon cider was a pretty close match to a terracotta flower pot. Okay. And then this set, like I said, the dies are just perfect. It fits the image perfectly, and it cuts out really nice. And this is what I ended up with. Now you'll notice that the texture is a little bit different on each one of these stamps. One, I didn't stamp this with the foam pad, and this one I did. And I think this was about the first one I stamped. Now when it comes to, and I don't even know if I have it. Oh, I do. When it comes to our photopolymer stamps, when they're new, Have you ever noticed when you first take them out of your box and you ink them up, sometimes the ink doesn't adhere that well? Well, I purchased from Alt New this eraser that you actually can go over your stamps, and it just adds a little layer. You can see I didn't clean it off, but it just adds some of the eraser, and you can do it with a regular pencil eraser, and it helps with taking off whatever is on that stamp when it's processed. And it does give you a much better image. And you'll see it's just so much nicer than this one here. Okay? And that's usually what I use. So we're just going to take this flower pot and we're just going to adhere it with some glue. And the same thing with the flowers. I actually use Coastal Cabana for the flowers. And again, it has a matching die that you can cut out your flowers. I got to take off my bracelets, making a lot of noise. And we're just going to pop this up onto the front of the card. Okay, oops, it's not dry yet. Okay, so there's our little flowers. I don't know if I have enough of these left, so I think I'll switch colors. Peggy said that. Well, thank you, Peggy. Yes, I do need a break. But you two, both of you, I could see either one of you saying that. Okay, so I'm using the matte decorative dots. And this is my last package, and I don't even know if they're still available. I should have checked. So I used them actually for the centers of the flowers. So let's switch over and we'll use these greenish ones, and I'm just going to add them to the centers of these flowers. Now the color is a little gradient in these dots, so some are a little darker than others, which is fine. And I just want to add these right to the center, just to give those flowers a little character. And then we're going to pull in our ribbon. And hopefully these are the right scissors. And they are. And we're just going to tie a quick bow and add this right to the front of the card with a glue dot. And again, my glue dots are not that sticky today. My room has been a little cold. Hey, Elizabeth, how are you, honey? Still cold at your house, Karen? I'm sure it is freezing. Thankfully, that snowstorm that came through, it snowed, and then it rained, and then we had ice. So we don't have any new snow. There's still snow from the previous storm, but no new snow. Thank goodness, because I don't want to shovel it. Okay, so there is the front of our card done. Now for the inside, I just did it very simple. I stamped the sentiment and just added some of that DSP. And it's 1/4 of an inch wide. And I'm going to cut it down to 4 inches. But before we do that, let's grab that foam pad. Just like this. Like I said, the stamps so much nicer on the foam pad. And which one did I use? Live life in full bloom. I think that one is Lordy, Lordy, here it is. Okay, so let's grab a new block. And we're going to do it in Coastal Cabana. And again, you're going to notice this was the first time I used this stamp, and I didn't use the foam pad. So now that it's been seasoned a little bit, I could also use the eraser to season it a little more, just like that. And ink it up, and let's see what it looks like now. I'm going to just stamp this right here in the corner. Okay, so can you see the difference? This is on the foam pad, and this is not on the foam pad. So it's a little bit different. Oh my goodness. Oh, Karen, I hope to heck you go out there and you bundle up. That's brutal. All right, let's get rid of that pad, and we're just going to glue this DSP down. Oops. I'm just going to line it up. Don't want to cover my sentiment. I'm just going to pick it up for a second and make sure it's right to the edge. Just like that. And then I'm just going to take my scissors, and you could use a cutter, and I'm just going to snip that off. While I'm thinking about it, this card here, I'll be sending it to you, Karen, because you were the winner of Monday's Mail a Card. So this card I will be demonstrating on Saturday how I made this one. So if you're around, if you're around on Saturday, we'll be making that card. It was really fun. Something new and messy. All right, so we're just going to layer this down. And like I said, I know I haven't really mentioned too many of the measurements, but I'll have the PDF in the room tomorrow for everybody for all 3 projects. And then we're just going to take this and stick it on the inside of the card. And there we go. There's card number 1. Pretty little spring card to brighten up everything. Hi. Thank you, Karen. That was a fun card. I really enjoyed making it. Okay, so let's go to card number 2. And again, I already pretty well stamped everything. I have a layer of the Coastal Cabana, and this one is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4, just like that. And then again, I have my layer of Bermuda Bay, and that's 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and then my basic white, which is 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, let me just make sure that is the right size. Yep. Okay. Now for this one, I wanted to match the DSP, so I took a piece of the DSP, which is 2.5 by 4, And I'm going to layer that right there on the bottom. Now, before I adhere this layer down, I'm just going to put the DSP on to make sure that the size didn't change drastically for the embossed layer. And it'll just give me a chance to lay that down. And again, flip it on its side and push that DSP down to the edge, and then turn it over and do it the same way. So this way my edges are nice and crisp. Okay? So that's just a little less than halfway on the card. Then again, I wanted to match the green DSP. So I cut one strip, and I believe this is 7/8. Nope, it's 1 inch by 4. And I wanted to use this die right here, which actually gives us these pretty little squares, a stairway of squares. And what I did was I took my scissors, and you can do it on your cutter. I just cut these completely in half. So I have 2 halves, just like that. I'm going to grab my DSP, and again, I am not going to mat it with anything. I'm just going to add a line, and I'm going to make sure I get it right to the edge. Just going to add a line of glue. And then I'm going to take my piece, making sure that I have the right and wrong sides the correct way. And I'm just going to layer this right here on this piece. And I want to try to make sure that I have these little points on each end about the same distance. And I'm just eyeballing it. I am not going to measure. And I just want to have these little pieces poking out. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing to this side, making sure I get right to the end, grab my piece with the right side out. Now it'll be a little easier to match. Make sure I have it in the right spot. Have a good amount of that point sticking out. And we're going to let that dry for a second, because we still have to put our ribbon around. So let me grab this ribbon again. I already have a piece, and that should be good enough for that piece. So let's give that a cut. And I'm going to grab, what did I do with it? Grab my scrap paper again, and let's just do another length of ribbon, because I need a bow for this one, and I need a bow for the little box. So let's color up some more ribbon. See if I can get enough. Ooh, enough for 2 bows. I think just a little bit more, and then this way again it'll be dry when I'm ready for it, and I don't get ink all over my fingers. But you know what happens when that happens. So I'll let that dry. Okay, so these should be dry now. So let's just turn, I'm going to keep it on this side, trim off these little edges. I'm going to do it from this side so I can see. And then turn it. I'm just going to snip off these edges just like that. Okay. I'm going to grab our ribbon, and again, and so I don't have to worry about fighting with my ribbon, I attach it with some glue dots. these glue dots. The new glue dots, they have them adhered to the inside of the roll instead of the outside of the roll. Yeah, isn't that great? Hey, Nancy, how are you? Hello, hello. All right, so like I said, so I don't have to worry where this is flimsy. I don't have to worry about tying this and getting it really tight. I use the glue dots. Just want to make sure that it is right there in the center. And we're just going to flip this over and adhere it to the back. So there is our ribbon. And now I want to get this just about as close to the middle of the card that I can. So it'll cut this piece right in half. So let's get that glue out. I'm going to add some glue. Just going to add some to the end of this ribbon. And we're going to eyeball it. I'm not going to measure, but I want to make sure it's right there at the end of the card. So again, there's enough glue. I'll hold it on its edge and just push down so it's pushing down to the edge of the table or the top of the table. Make sure it's on there straight. The glue gives us some wiggle room. And there is that piece of the card. So now let's get our layers together. Okay, we're just gonna use our glue. I feel more comfortable when I've had a crazy day. I feel more comfortable using glue instead of the snail because it just gives me that extra little time or extra little wiggle room, as a lot of people say, so I don't mess the card up completely. So we're just going to layer this here on the front. Okay. Now I did already stamp my boots. I stamped my flowers. And I stamped the stems and die cut them. And again, the dies are awesome. So with the little boots, I wanted to give them a little shine, and you probably really can, oh, yep, you can see it a little bit. Nice shiny rubber boots. So I'm going to use some Wink Stella, and you don't want to really rub it too much because this is alcohol based, the Wink Stella. And we all know that, let me just squeeze a little bit more in here. We all know that our inks are water-based. So if we rub this too much, you're going to smear, possibly could smear the ink. So we're just going to run this over the boot just to give it a little bit of a sparkle. Everybody loves a little sparkle. Let that dry for a minute. I'm going to grab my little stems, and this we're just going to add some glue. Now if you glue this down instead of popping it up, I would suggest adding just a little bit of a new glue, right? A little bit of glue to these stems. I made the mistake of not, and one of them was sticking up. So we're just going to take this, and I'm going to add it right here to this corner. I want to make sure that it's straight. And I'm going by the bottom of the image. And we're just going to adhere that right to the front of the card. The boots are pretty dry. I'm going to adhere these also. I really don't want these popped up. Let's pull in our card. And I'm just going to set this right about here, I think. Now there are a few layers, ribbon, DSP, and the die cut, so you may have to just hold it for a second. And then we have some pretty little, man, that bracelet is noisy. Pretty little tulips, and I actually stamped these in the fresh freesia. The boots are in the Coastal Cabana, and the stems are in the Granny Apple Green. So I tried to stick with my Granny Apple Green, my Bermuda Bay, and my Coastal Cabana. But I did add a little bit of the freesia, fresh freesia, because I was pulling it out of this DSP right here. Just little tiny flowers in the fresh freesia. And that's why I chose that color. All right, so we're adding some mini dimensionals onto the back of our tulips. And we're just going to pop these. Your stems will match the flowers. And it's going to go over your boot a little bit, which is fine. And we're just going to set those down just like that. Okay. Let's grab our scrap piece of paper, and we're going to grab some Coastal Cabana, and we are going to grab Rain or Shine, I'm Here for You. Okay, so let's give this a stamp. And I'm going to actually grab that pad so we have a nice crisp sentiment. I'm just going to add it right about here. Very good. And then I'm going to grab the double oval punch. And we're going to line this up in the scallop section. Make sure it is centered and give it a good punch. Yeah, I like these colors. Hey, Kathy. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you talking about this die? Yes. This die is in the Flowering Rainbow set. This is what it looks like. Just like this. I really like this. Could use it as a stair, as a stair. And the little squares, and I threw mine away. I probably should have kept them. The little squares that get punched at, that get die cut out, are actually awesome. You could use them for so many different things. I threw mine away though. Okay, so now that I have my sentiment, I'm going to grab, instead of grabbing one of my blender brushes, I'm grabbing some Granny Apple. Oh, that's Old Olive. I don't want Old Olive. I want to grab the Granny Apple Green, and I'm just going to grab one of my Tim Holtz blenders, and I'm just going to add just a bit of color to the edge of this. The sentiment was too big for me to do it on the smaller oval of the punch, so I needed to use the scalloped oval, but I didn't want it to get lost on the background. So that's why I'm adding a little bit of color to the edges. This way you can see it just makes it stand out against the background. Okay, so let's grab some dimensionals, and we're going to pop this up onto the front of the card. And I'm I'm just going to stick it right up here on the corner. Oops, almost put it on upside down. That would have been par for the course, wouldn't it? All right, set straight. And then let's grab some of these little matte dots. When you go looking for me, Kathy, lately I've been just doing my Gal Friday stamping group and not my page or YouTube. Okay, so we're going to stick with these green ones that we used, and all I'm going to do is put one of the larger ones, and then I'm going to use a smaller one on either side just to add something a little different, just like that. And grab our ribbon. Let's cut a piece here. Want to make sure I don't cut it too short because then I won't be able to make my ribbon, and that's exactly what I did, I think. Let's see if I can do this. I do it every time. Nope. All right, let me just cut. I'm going to have to color a little bit more. I cut it too short, of course. So let's just grab the Bermuda Bay. Now this one will be way too big, but at least I'll be able to tie my ribbon without flubbing it completely. So again, this is the soft succulent ribbon, and I'm just coloring it with the dark Bermuda Bay. It's not the exact color Bermuda Bay. The soft succulent does come through just a little, but it doesn't look too bad. It gives it just a little bit of a shine, actually. Looks a little sparkly. Okay. Just check my loops here, make sure that they are about the same size. Let's cut these little tails. Pull our card back in. And let's get this on the front of the card. I'm just going to add it right here by the boot. And then there is the front of our card. Now for the inside, again, I made it very simple. Just make sure I have the right pieces, and I do. So we got 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, 5 1/4 by 4. And all I did was I die cut that same die and added it to the inside of the card. And you could add layer a piece of double-sided tape or the adhesive sheets before you cut it out. Would make it much easier to stick. I decided to use glue, so I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to these center pieces, and I'll have to trim. So I am going to go all the way down because I have to make sure, I have to see where it is that it'll be center. I don't want it to be off. So I'm just going to add my glue. And what I mean is, if I put it with the triangle right here at the end, it'll be half a triangle at this end. So I'm just going to line it up so it's at the bottom. And I want to make sure that the same amount is being cut off at each end, or at least close to the same amount. So it's not, doesn't look like it's off center. So you just have to hold that for a second and then turn it over, and we're gonna trim this off. Couldn't be easier, right? And then we're just going to add our glue. It's already clogged. Can you believe it? I couldn't have used that much already. Unless it's the old one I picked up. All right, so we're just going to layer this down. Matte that basic white. That's what I did. I grabbed the wrong one. And adhere it to the inside of the card. And you could put this on the bottom, like I did here, or you could turn it around and have the little die cut across the top. However you wanted to do it. And I did it across the bottom. So there is card number 2. And I hope you loved that. Thank you, Mary. Hi, Cone. All right, so let's go to our last project. Just a cute little gift box. Okay, now it is a little bit tight. So let's get this going. I'm going to have to pull in my scoreboard, but let's get our pieces first. I have 2 pieces that are 5 1/4 by 4 1/8. Then and these are the Coastal Cabana. Then I grabbed the Granny Apple Green, and these are the Stitch So Sweetly frames, and it's not the largest, it's the next one down. Now, if you wanted, you could even use the next smallest. And let me just grab these a second. I don't even have these. It might be too small. Let's check. Yeah, that one would be too small. So you do need the second largest from the Stitch So Sweetly. And I did cut out 2. Then I'm using the same DSP for the top, and it fits inside the stitching. And this is 3 3/4 by 2 5/8. And then I decided that I wanted to do the sides of the box also. So I used the other DSP and cut my pieces for the sides. And there's 2 pieces that are 7/8 of an inch by 3 1/8, and then 7/8 by 2. So those are the sides and the 2 ends. Then I just wanted to add something a little decorative in the back. So this is Coastal Cabana from Stitch So Sweetly. And then we have our watering can, which also, and I think I probably put it away, but the die is perfect for this. And then we have some flowers coming out of the watering can. And then I use the specialty silver. Oh, you saw foil paper. And this is the cute little hand rake. And then I did another one in black so I could put it on the handle. Let's just I'm going to have to cut out one item And that is this cute little seed pack. And I'm actually going to do it in Coastal Cabana. Let's see how it looks if I don't put the cushion under it. Oh, not bad. I did it a little lighter on this one, so let's do it darker. And I'm just going to, believe it or not, there is a die for this. But you know what? I'm sitting right here. Let's just quick cut this. I think I can cut 4 straight lines. But there is a die, so if you didn't want to fussy cut it out, you could most definitely use the die. Okay, so there's the little flower pack. So those are our pieces. Let me see if I can just make a quick bow and then we can get this little box. Nope. I got glue all over. So we have to color up more ribbon. So let's get a good piece here. I want to make sure I have enough. I'd rather have too much than not enough. So let this. All right. So let's pull our pieces in. One is the top and one is the bottom. Now I'm just going to grab my scoreboard. And all I'm going to do for this piece, and I'm going to use the smaller ball end, I am going to score it at 1 inch on every side. And this one will be the bottom. Okay, so that's the bottom of the box. Now for the top of the box, instead of trying to finagle what to do with scoring, all I'm going to do, let me just grab a smaller piece of, I can use this. I'm going to use this as a shim. And I'm going to put it right up against the edge. And I'm going to put my paper right there and hold that up. And again, I am going to score it at 1 inch. It will give me just enough room to put this box top onto the bottom of the box. Okay, it's just that little shim, which is the width of your paper. It'll give you just enough room for the lid of your box. It will be a little bit of a tight squeeze. And I am just going to, let me see, grab my pen here. I'm just going to put a little dot here so then I know that that's the top of the box. Okay? And to make it easier, I am going to cut my tabs. And I want the box to fit, the top and the bottom to fit. So instead of doing 2 cuts and then folding them in, I am going to cut and tab on this end, turn it, and then I'm going to cut it and tab. Now I like to cut that bump out and then turn it. So then you have a cut and your tab, or miter the edges on each side. Just like this. Now this is the top of the box. This is the one that I use the wedge. For the bottom of the box, I'm going to do the opposite corners. So where I did the right corner on this side, I'm going to do the left corner. So then when I put the top onto the box, I won't have all these layers on the same end. It'll be staggered and it'll fit much better. So we won't have to worry about that extra width of paper at each of the corners. I guess I can't chew gum and talk at the same time. Okay. So let's grab our piece. Let's just fold. I probably should have done this before. It would have been easier, but not a big deal. Okay. So you can either glue your edges or you can use your seal. And let's use the seal this time. And I'm going to put a line at the score line. And then I'm going to put one right at the edge. At the score line and at the edge. Whoops. And then we're going to do the same on this. Whoops. Okay. And again, this is our top because I think, is that, nope, this is our top. I'm doing the bottom now. Now at this point, before you fold your little box together, when you're doing the top, you could put your sides on now to make it a little easier. So this is the bottom of our box. We're going to grab our piece, our frame from the Stitch So Sweetly, and I am going to add some glue to the bottom. And we're just going to center this right on this piece. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to make sure that you have at least the same amount on each side. Okay? And we're going to let that dry. Now we're going to pull in our top. And let's put our DSP on. It'll make it just a little easier. And again, I'm going to glue. Give us a second to get all our pieces on. Now, if you wanted, and I did it to my original box, and I don't really know why I did it, because it's not helpful at all. But I did put the notches. You can see I added the notches. But they're not helpful. But it just adds a little something to the box. So if you wanted to add them, you can. And we'll just add this here. And one more. Now for the original, the first box I made, the flowers I did them in Bermuda Bay. For tonight's flowers, I did them in the Coastal Cabana. So they're a little lighter. All right, so now that we have these all on, let's fold. And I think I said this is the top of the box. Yes, it is. All right. So let's grab our seal and we're going to add it the same exact way. Just a quick and easy little gift box. You put candy, a cute little gift, and actually you could put a gift card in here. It would fit perfect. Okay, so let's put this together. And I'll show you what I mean about the corners. It might be easier if you can see what I was saying. Okay, so this is the top of our box. And you'll notice the tab is here, but on this one, the tab is here. So we're going to make sure that we turn this so the tabs are alternating. And we're just going to slip that right down onto the box. Let's grab our DSP. We're just going to add this layer to the frame, keeping it on the inside of the stitching. Just want to move this up a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to adhere this frame from the same set. Em, did you say you didn't you didn't see me make it, or you didn't see the card? Okay. So there is that. Now we want to get this on the top of the box, and you do want it to line up with the bottom of the box. So I found the best way to do it. Add your glue to the top. Add enough that you have your wiggle room. And if you stand over, you can pretty well line it up just by looking straight down on it. And just to check, you can look underneath to make sure you have just about the same amount of room. Okay? So let's grab our watering can, and we're just gonna glue this right there on the front. And we're gonna grab our little flowers and pop this up. Right there. We're going to use these same little dots. I'll use the green ones again. Whoops. And these are the medium size ones. And then I used one small one on this little flower on the side. And like I said, these are tricolor. They run from light to dark. So a little variation on each of the flowers. One more. Just like that. I'm going to grab this little hand rake. I'm actually going to cut off the top handle on my black piece. Now you could use the regular silver foil sheets, but this one is the one that has a little bit of a purple hue to it. This was the specialty one. And I'm just going to glue this black handle right to the top. We're going to grab our little seed packet. And I'm going to add some glue right to the center. And we're going to just glue it right down to the seed. And grab a dimensional. Whoops. That went flying. My fingers are so sticky and full of glue right now. And we're just going to add this right about here. Okay. Let's grab our ribbon. You'll notice the flowers are lighter and the seeds are darker on this card, on this box. All right, get our bow together here. Oh, you didn't see the finished card. Okay, I will show you in 1 second. Hold on. Okay, let's cut our tails. Grab that glue dot. And then we're just going to add this right here underneath those flowers. Move everything out of the way. And we have our cute little gift box. Our card with the rain boots. And the card with the flower pot. So I hope you liked tonight's projects. They were so fun to make. And if you place an order using this host code of $35 by Monday, I will send you one set, which will be one set of 24 sheets of 6x6 DSP and a swag bag, which has a number of different items. Usually there's ribbon and there is double-sided tape and just a whole bunch of different goodies in it. So I hope you enjoyed the cards. Thanks so much. You're welcome, Dawn. Thank you so much for being with me tonight and putting up with everything that goes on in my life. One of these days, I'm going to surprise you. Something great's going to happen. So have a good, thank you, Karen. Yes, full of goodies. So have a great night. And if you want to see that card, I'll pull it out again. If you want to see how I made this card, join me on Saturday. I'll post the time probably tomorrow. So have a great night. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.